are here with Richard Huddy, the infamous Chief Gaming Officer, Chief Gaming Scientist, whatever job title suits the day.
We'll go for Chief Gaming Scientist today.
Yep. Every title under the sun, and one forum called you the canonical Richard Huddy.
Ah, excellent. I'm pleased to hear it.
So we're here in Sydney at the AMD 300 launch, and we have some questions from our readers, and when Richard has kindly offered his time to answer them for us, and we're going to go through them. And just for housekeeping, they're not in particular order in terms of grouping of subjects, so you might be jumping from from Freesync to drivers and back and forth a little bit, but it's not too bad.
Sure.
So the first one is, NVIDIA claims G-Sync is an end-to-end solution and adaptive sync is just a communications protocol. So, and you guys, obviously you're concentrating on the Freesync. So how do you counter that sort of statement? That NVIDIA is claiming they offer more value in terms of they have additional features, ULMB, and they have additional features they do on their stack versus the underlying protocol, which is you guys enhance a little bit. So how do you counter that sort of statement?
I think I'd say
a protocol versus a solution. That's what they're claiming is.
Looks like a pretty good solution to me. Freesync runs a little faster than G-Sync does, so we measure a small performance penalty from using.
How do you claim that? Because they claim zero latency, and I've seen some reviews that say one frame latency on AMD.
I didn't talk there about latency. I talked about the performance hit, but actually the latency from Freesync is nothing additional. We don't have any extra parts in the pipeline to slow things down. We're using the standard. So
basically, those both should be equivalent in terms of the actual underlying GPU.
In terms of the,
there should be no penalty then in both solutions.
No, I'm not saying that for G-Sync. I don't know.
They claim nothing. So
okay, well, I think their claim's a little misleading because in fact, what you'll find is if you look at the details of G-Sync, there is a communication which goes both ways every frame between the monitor and the graphics card. Now that means that there has to be some overhead. It could be very small, but there is an overhead. There is no such overhead with Freesync.
Okay.
With Freesync, you also get the advantage that typically you can have lots of different connectors in a monitor, so you can have DVI, VGA, etc., which means that you've got more versatility in a monitor. With Freesync, you can typically bring up the monitor control panel so that you can change the temperature color settings or all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
All these things are just standard because you're using a standard scaler that's from the usual manufacturers. Nothing custom is required. Yeah, we're just using industry standard parts, and indeed Freesync is an industry standard. So we know of no drawbacks with it. Actually, you get higher performance, lower cost. Seems to me like Freesync is a clear winner.
And leading on from this...
Before we finish that, I'll also say, if you look at G-Sync, there's been relatively slow adoption, and there are probably reasons for that. You look at Freesync, I think we have as many Freesync monitors in the market now, different SKUs, as there are G-Sync monitors, and yet we've been in the market for, 3 months? Whereas it's taken them 15 months. By the end of 2015, there will clearly be many more Freesync monitors, and we have a wide range of specs. So different manufacturers are able to play to the industry standard in any way they want to. Freesync is clearly the better place to play, actually.
NVIDIA claims they're on the quality control side. They pick the model, they influence, they pick the model, they cherry pick each panel, they influence the specs on the panel, versus you guys in some reviews and obviously some specs of existing monitors. The Freesync band on the refresh is very narrow, for example 45 to 75, versus NVIDIA they claim goes 0 to whatever the monitor is. What are you guys doing in terms of addressing that sort of subject, the quality? Because some users are very upset with that narrow band.
So the single best way to let a market bring good quality products to consumers is to encourage competition in the market. It's the basics of capitalism. And that's absolutely what's happening with Freesync. You will see a number of different solutions. If you want to buy a monitor with a relatively narrow band, because that's where you tune your games to play, then you will still get a great experience out of that. If you want to go for something which goes from, say, 30 to 144 hertz, you can absolutely choose that. But the manufacturers can produce a range of different products, just like you can choose different resolutions. Yeah?
So I need to bang the door of your partners, basically. to get, for example, to get a wide range of monitor if my readers want that?
There are many, many different monitors. You already have more choice in the FreeSync area, yeah?
Okay, jumping onto GPUs, obviously we've announced the 300 series, which we'll leave the debate whether they refresh or rebrand to another time. I'll just call them refreshes for this discussion. For the 370, you guys are using the 1024 shader chip, and that's a bit of a downgrade in terms of you have a 1280 shader as well on the same chip before. Why have you guys gone down with that?
So the
7870 and 270X was 1280 shaders, and this one now is 1024.
Okay, so irrespective of the numbers, because a consumer doesn't buy, or maybe a consumer does, I don't know. Maybe there are rare consumers who say, you know what I want? I want more shaders in this particular GPU.
Okay.
That would be, to say the least, an unusual consumer. Usually what a consumer cares about is what is the gaming performance of this card. Certainly for a 360 or 370, we're looking at online gaming cards, and these deliver great performance. We deliver better performance per dollar than we used to deliver. So in terms of a solution that should be attractive, I think you just look at the gaming performance. And when you go from the 360 to the 370, and then up to the 380, 390 and so on, you can see a significant performance improvement, better in terms of frames per second than you used to get from AMD at the same kind of price. That's an improvement that you should care about, not counting shaders. Now, sometimes we want to boast about shaders because it demonstrates how much horsepower there is. Yeah, so something like the Fiji chip with its 4096 shaders, that's a supremely complex GPU. It's the most complex GPU on the planet. We want to emphasize that fact. But in the end, what it comes down to is games playing experience for games. You know, if you're buying for games, you don't care about the number of shaders, do you?
Jumping to drivers now, AMD stayed silent a little bit regarding Project Cars and Witcher, and eventually you addressed the issue after some time. What have you learned from that, and how would you go about that next time? There was a bit of a delay, and most users expect a bit more of a prompt response from you guys.
Yeah, I think one of the things you will have seen from us is we've switched from a monthly cadence of producing drivers, which probably was a bit too focused on the rhythm and not on actually solving problems. So we haven't yet perfected our driver story. I think that's probably true of any company.
Fair enough.
Business.
Fair enough.
But we can do better.
But it was more of a communications issue though, more than drivers.
Yeah.
In that particular scenario.
I have seen a couple of games this year where I would have liked us to do better, and where I've talked to the driver team and said, look, can we not deliver a driver more quickly? But if you give us a little time, certainly with the titles that we work very closely with, we don't need time. We have day one releases.
So drivers, final DirectX 12 drivers on Windows 10 launch? You're going to have them ready?
Absolutely.
Okay.
And they will be high quality, and we will continue to improve them.
One of this, I'm going to read this verbatim. This is a question. Home run with the Fury GPUs, Mr. Huddy, but what's next?
Thank you very much. Absolutely. So they are a home run with the GPUs. They're a beautiful piece of work. I'm just going to step off camera for a moment and pick up this piece. This I think is the unexpected.
That's clever, very clever.
So this is
bravo.
This is a Fiji GPU. Yeah, this is our home run. But this is an amazing board. This is a 6-inch Fury Nano board, which will be coming to. Sorry.
R9 Nano. Even we had to learn this.
So this is the R9 Fury board, and there will be a small
R9 Nano.
Correction after correction. All right, this is the R9 Nano board. We don't use the word Fury in this one, apparently. But this is based on the Fiji chip. It has the same HBM technology, which lets us build it super small. If you look at the back of the board, you can see that the GPU is a significant chunk of the board, but there's no memory dotted around it because the memory is built in there. This is the most power-efficient enthusiast graphics card in the world. It is, to say the least, a bit of a home run. And will we stop there? I don't think so. The graphics industry is an industry ready for change when it comes to memory. We've been bottlenecked by GDDR over recent years, and to move to HBM, to be able to produce this kind of really serious enthusiast performance, this is really an uncompromising approach to graphics cards. To be able to do this,
3 or 4
this sets us into a whole family of
Let me finish.
whole family of graphics cards, which will
Just a couple more because we're running out of time here.
Sure.
As Chief Gaming Officer, brief feelings on Steambox because some time has been passed already on that.
Oh, brief feelings on Steambox. You want one of them?
Yeah,
Get one of
okay.
these.
There's our answer, folks. Mechanical Richard Huddy.
You'll have a lot of fun.
Okay, feelings on Shield because they're doing quite a good thing. They're streaming hundreds of games now. What they're claiming to do.
You should really be talking to Nvidia about it. I haven't bought one and I don't plan to. It's
Okay,
my own
our final one because we're getting the nod here from our local hosts. What game are you playing now?
I'm still playing the Battlefield series a lot, and I play a little bit of Plants vs Zombies because I think that's super pretty. But the game of 2015, which I'm wildly excited about, is Battlefront, Star Wars Battlefront.
Okay, Star Wars nerd. All right, thanks, Richard.
Nerd, all